Ares, the god of war who doesn't really get much love. He's like that guy who's always ready for a fight, and so people keep him at an arm's length. I mean, his short temper and aggressiveness didn't do him any favors, so it's no surprise that he wasn't adored by the Greeks. Unlike Mars, his Roman counterpart, who had way more fans and was seen as a symbol of military power and protection, Ares was mostly seen as someone who embodied the chaotic, violent side of war. So the Greeks weren't super into that and preferred gods like Athena, who represented strategy and wisdom in battle. Ares is the son of Zeus and Hera, which immediately gives him some serious honor in terms of family connections. But Zeus was the king of the gods and Hera, the queen, was the goddess of marriage and family. But Ares' relationship with his parents wasn't exactly sunshine and rainbows. Hera, despite all of her frustration with Zeus' constant affairs, was pretty protective of Ares, while Zeus, on the other hand, wasn't really a fan. Zeus thought that Ares' thirst for violence and chaos was a bit much, even by God's standards. Imagine being the god of war and your own dad constantly gives you the side-eye because you enjoy the battlefield a little too much. Even though Ares had a powerful lineage, he wasn't exactly the most celebrated god. Like, they knew they needed him in a way, war was part of life, but they didn't love that he represented the ugly, untamed side of it. Instead, they'd rather turn to Athena when it came to warfare because she was all about clever strategies and intelligence, while Ares was just about brute force and carnage. It's like Athena was playing 4D chess while Ares was just flipping the table in rage. But that raw aggression, it's kind of what made Ares who he was. He was the physical embodiment of war in all its bloody, chaotic, and overwhelming glory. He didn't strategize, he just charged straight into battle, ready to destroy anything in his path. He was often seen fighting along his sister Eris and two of his sons, Phobos and Deimos. So yeah, when Ares showed up, you knew things were about to get intense. Oddly enough, for someone who thrived on violence, he often found himself on the losing end of myths. He faced humiliation more often than glory. One of his most well-known stories involved Ares and Aphrodite, his main lover, being caught in a pretty embarrassing situation. Aphrodite's husband, Hephaestus, managed to catch them both in a net while they were in bed together. Hephaestus invited other gods to come and see, which was not Ares' proudest moment. Despite that, Ares and Aphrodite had a surprisingly healthy relationship. Well, at least for a while. That was until Adonis came into the picture. Aphrodite fell for the handsome Adonis, and Ares wasn't having it. So he turned into a boar and killed Adonis during a hunting trip. Pretty brutal, but also very on brand for Ares. Aphrodite, heartbroken, ran back to Ares. Interestingly, for a god who's all about war and aggression, Ares had some redeeming moments. He was actually one of the gods who was actively against SA, which was unfortunately not a common stance upon the Olympians. One time he killed Poseidon's son for assaulting his daughter, Alkip. That, of course, angered Poseidon and led to a rivalry between them. Ares was also a big supporter of his Amazonian daughters. These warrior women were fierce, and Ares was all about that. The most famous of his daughters was Penthesilea, who fought in the Trojan War and was celebrated with her courage and strength. Ares definitely took pride in their victories and didn't shy away from backing them up in battle. During the Trojan War, Ares sided with the Trojans, which didn't exactly end well for him. He got injured by the Greek hero Diomedes, who speared him with the help of Athena, of course. Ares, being the dramatic god he was, let out a huge bellow and retreated back to Olympus to complain to Zeus about Athena's actions. He could dish out the violence, but couldn't handle being on the receiving end too well. Ares didn't have the best reputation with other gods either. Even Zeus wasn't too fond of him. According to Homer, both of Ares' parents kind of hated him. Harsh, but it shows how much his war-loving ways rubbed people the wrong way. He was also considered a bit of a coward. Sure, he loved to fight, but when he got injured, he was quick to whine about it. In spite of all that, Ares wasn't completely without followers. He did have some worshippers. His cult wasn't as nearly as widespread or influential as, say, Athena's. Most of his children were mortal and not divine, which kind of says a lot about his place in the pantheon. He wasn't out there fathering demigods left and right like Zeus. Instead, Ares was more focused on his role as the raw, untamed force of war. Well, that's the end of this video. What'd you think? Let me know in the comments down below. That's it for today, so don't forget to like if you liked the video and subscribe for more content like this. Bye-bye!